I've lived in the greater Loveland area for about 16 years now, and I made the recent decision. I'm going through a downsizing simplification of the lifestyle, and I've made the decision to move down to the Loveland Station Apartments. And one of the big reasons why I made that decision is because of what, as a big contributor, the farmers market brings to me. I think it's, number one, it's good to hear Mr. Kenneth say, it sounds like there's room for some negotiation here in terms of looking at various options. And one of the ones that I, again, would implore council as well as mayor to continue to consider is the Jackson Street market location. We do believe because of the exposure it provides, it will be, it would help with the foot traffic, because we believe traffic is a good thing. We're not saying that traffic from a vehicle traffic standpoint is a challenge. Certainly it is, but I think we can do more to help alleviate that situation. For the last 30 years, I've been in marketing and sales executive, last 23 with Johnson & Johnson. So I think from a business standpoint, one of the key takeaways here today as we move forward is hoping that we have council and the mayor's support and looking at the various options to include the Jackson Street location. I'm also a previous business owner here. I started one in 2009 on 2nd Street across from Playworks that myself and my now ex-wife used to own. It's a fitness business, but more importantly, we understand, we got to know the people here in the greater Loveland area, one of the reasons why we wanted to stay here in Loveland. I've been coming to the market since 2012. A lot of that is based on the fact that I have a very strict diet, which requires local, or I should say organic produce, dairy, grass-fed beef and pork. And in going to the market, it became very obvious to me that Loveland is indeed a farming and has a strong history in farming and community here. So it's really important, I think, from adding to the ambience and the charm of Loveland and having people recognize this place for what it is. Because again, I'd like to see more business come here. I'd like to see more residents move here. And I think a large part of that is not only the farmers market, but also the other events that we have on an annual calendar basis. So again, when I heard initially about the city's council decision not bringing back the Loveland Farmers Market upon the completion of the development of the Loveland Station apartment complex or development, I was fairly dumbfounded and confused about that, especially based on the concerns of traffic, limited parking, and as recently noted, is safety. Increased traffic is paramount for all local business. The 4 Ps of marketing, I want to bore you with remedial details, but one of the places is about place, and the place being where this business is located and what it brings to the table. And lastly, I have some general commentary and questions for the council to consider in moving forward. Since the traffic and the parking will remain permanent issues here, what's the council's plan to try to address those concerns moving forward? Because they're not going to go away no matter where we have the market, okay? There are numerous other and larger events held in Loveland with thousands in attendance, not hundreds. And those events are in danger, are those events being in danger of being moved or terminated? If not, what's the difference? In contrast, the city has approved, as I mentioned, the development of the apartment station, which also includes retail space, and I would expect more on the way in terms of more businesses coming to the greater Loveland area. It also appears, at least initially, and again, this was my observation, that a unilateral decision was made by the city council not to allow the Loveland Farmers Market to return to downtown Loveland. And my question is simply, is that true? It also appears that the city manager will be given responsibility in making a decision in this matter. That's great, but I'd like to understand who he reports up to as well, because I don't believe the city manager is going to work in a complete silo. Lastly, as Mr. Canada had referred to earlier, there were 2 polls conducted. He spoke of the Loveland Magazine poll. I can tell, at least from my interpretation of that poll, when it says it's returned back to downtown Loveland, My thought process was it took us back to Jackson Street. That was my interpretation, and I think everyone else in this room, or most people would agree with that statement. If we need to reapply that poll, I think Level Magazine would be happy to do that. And then lastly, a business poll that I'm also, again, a member of the Friends of the Loveland Farmers Market that we conducted with local businesses. We did an email blast based on the roster that we got from the online from the Chamber of Commerce. And as Mr. Canada alluded to, that we had, in looking at the various answers and way how it's interpreted, almost 80% from the Loveland Magazine in terms of the approval or wanting to bring back, again, my interpretation back to the Jackson Street marketplace. And then in our particular poll, 85% of the businesses in the greater Loveland area wanted to bring this back. So we feel that.
And on that high point of 85%, I'm going to ask you to wrap up very quickly, please.
I will, thank you. And I appreciate the latitude there. So in light of the overwhelming results, with City Council, sit down with the members of the Loveland Farmers Market leadership and negotiate an amiable and win-win solution here in this, in regard to the subject matter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kennedy.
I did want to clarify, Dan, and I tried to be very clear, and you and I met, and most every email I've gotten, and every phone call, and every interview, while I certainly get input from City Council, unfortunately, well, it is my decision, and I want to take that responsibility. I don't really want to pass that off onto Council, and I just want that noted, that, and I've tried to be honest with, I've tried to, anyone who's called or emailed, I've tried to reply back, but ultimately it is my decision.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy.